Hello everyone. Today we'll be exploring what an asset is and how to create it in ERPNext. In ERPNext, an asset refers to any item of value that an organization owns and expects to yield economic benefits over time. These assets are generally classified into tangible assets that are physical items such as furniture, or intangible assets that are non physical items such as software license and trademarks. Assets are typically used in the daily operations of a business and may be located on company premises or assigned to employees, for example, laptops, office desks, and company vehicles. ERPNext supports both tangible and intangible assets, ensuring proper capitalization, tracking, depreciation, and compliance with accounting standards. Depreciation and accounting treatment. Assets in ERPNext usually have a useful life that spans multiple financial years. Therefore, instead of recording the full cost as an expense in the year of acquisition, the cost is capitalized and then depreciated over the asset's useful life. For example, a printer purchased for $300 with a useful life of 3 years will be depreciated at $100 per year. This aligns with the standard accounting principles and legal requirements. The Asset Master in ERPNext. At the core of ERPNext's asset management module is the Asset Master, which acts as the central record for each asset. It manages the complete life cycle of an asset, including acquisition, depreciation, movement, maintenance, disposal, or sale. Each transaction related to the asset is recorded and tracked, ensuring full visibility and control over the company's assets. To create an asset, you first need to create an item, and you need to ensure that the item has been categorized to be a fixed asset and that the maintain stock part of that item is deselect, since a fixed asset does not have a maintained stock in the warehouse. To create an item, you need to go to stock, item, and add an item in this section. Now you first need to deselect the maintain stock. You need to write down the appropriate item code, and then you need to select the fixed asset part. Choose the item group, in this case consumable. Choose the appropriate asset category, the fixed asset one, definitely. Save. And then you need to create an asset correspondent to the item you have just created. So since we created the item printer here, our asset would be that, obviously. First, it is important for you to buy that asset. So for that, you need to create a purchase order. Now this is particularly very important so that you may be able to map all of the purchase requirements that are necessary when creating an asset. So select the appropriate date, enter the item code, printer here, choose the quantity and the rate. So we are keeping it 75,000 here. Set the target warehouse where you want your item to land, and then you'll be saving it and submit. You'll then be creating a purchase receipt from the purchase order that you have just created. Check if the entire information has been mapped from the purchase order, save, and submit. Right. Now is the appropriate time for us to create an asset since we have all of the prerequisites ready here. The purchase detail part, we'll be selecting the corresponding purchase receipt and you'll find the entire information has automatically been mapped. Select the available for use date. This is the date when your company would start using the asset. Choose the location. If not set already, create a one. Click Save. Choose the asset owner if needed, or it can also be left like that. So now since it's a fixed asset, it needs to follow a depreciation entry. Choose either of the following depreciation method, straight line being the most simple one. So we'll go with that. Choose the total number of depreciation and the frequency of depreciation and the posting date of depreciation. So upon saving it, a depreciation schedule will be created and then submit. Now we'll be viewing the asset depreciation schedule. And we can see here that the appropriate asset depreciation schedule has been created as per what information we fed previously in whilst creating our asset. So this is how ERP works for us. We can see that ERPNext has created a depreciation schedule whereby as preset, our asset is depreciating after every 2 months. Right, now we'll be talking about auto creation of assets. ERPNext provides the handy feature of auto creation of assets where a purchase receipt is made. This significantly streamlines asset management by providing manual entry and timely tracking of newly acquired fixed assets. To enable this feature, you must enable the option of auto create on purchase in the item master of the asset. This way, ERPNext will create an associated asset record automatically from the transaction information every time this item is received through a purchase receipt. Like it has been created here. Then we'll be creating a purchase. We'll be looking into the purchase receipt list of that item. We can see it has already been created. Now we just did. Okay, so we'll be creating another asset here. Or definitely we need to create an item first. And we need to ensure that the fixed asset has been selected in this case. The item that we are creating for now is drill. The item group is consumable and it is a fixed asset definitely because we need to map it to our asset account. And okay, so the asset owner can be the category that's shown. We'll be choosing the company since we'll be keeping it with ourselves. Then add the location if it has already been preset. Then, but obviously, as stated earlier, we need to create a purchase order before carrying forward with the asset or the item thing. So, in order to ensure that the item is available to be used as asset, in our company. So we are creating the purchase order of the drill in this case, and we'll definitely be needing it by today. We'll be setting the rate of it, for instance, 35,000 here. We'll be saving it and then we'll be submitting it. This would then let us create a purchase receipt. That since we have created the purchase receipt from the purchase order, that the same purchase order, so you do not need to additionally add information. The purchase receipt has been created successfully. Now we can create the asset from the item. So like if we'll be choosing the purchase receipt that we have just created, you can see all of the information has been mapped here. We'll be choosing the available for use state. Then since it's a fixed asset, we need to make sure that it has some depreciation schedule followed here. We'll be adding a depreciation schedule. The depreciation method has to be the straight line one. Then yeah, like we're keeping the total number of depreciations to be 6 again in this case with the frequency of 2 as we saw earlier. Then we'll be choosing the posting date of depreciation, saving, and we'll submit this like that. Yeah, so we can again look into the assets depreciation schedule, and like in the previous case, we can see that the asset is depreciating over 2 month period, like 8, 10, 12, as you can see the differences in the months here.